Hello, sweet souls. Welcome back to the club, Authentic Souls Club, that is, aka my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be a member of Authentic Souls Club, all you got to do is hit that little subscribe button below and you're in. Today we are talking about how to avoid being intimidated. And I think this is such an important topic to discuss because the number one first impression people always tell me that they got from me was that I intimidated them. And I used to get really sad about that. It used to really hurt my feelings. But obviously throughout my journey, I've reflected on it and I've really dived into what being intimidated actually is. And so I want to help you avoid being intimidated by your social circle, by social media, by the content that you consume, all of that. First things first, I really want to highlight the language that I'm using, how to avoid being intimidated versus how to avoid feeling intimidated. Being intimidated and feeling intimidated are two different things. So I really want to start with that, and I really want to highlight that differentiation and really explain and bring awareness to why I'm using that terminology. Because the fact of the matter is, at one point in time, we are going to feel intimidated. Feeling intimidated is inevitable. No matter how confident you are, no matter how in tune you are, no matter how aware you are, there's always going to be somebody ahead of us or somebody better than us. That's the ego speaking. Or somebody doing XYZ that intimidates us. That's always going to happen at one point in time. How we react to it though, what we make it mean, how we let it influence our energy, influence our mindset, that's a different story. And that's what I really want to talk about today. Being intimidated feels very restrictive. It feels like a hard stop. It feels like that's where we end. That's where we draw the line. Like, we are intimidated. We are being intimidated by something. There's no growth in that. There's no progress in that. There's no feeling of moving forward from that. And so what I want to do in today's video is really talk about the process of how to avoid being intimidated. Not feeling intimidated, because we are going to feel intimidated, and that's unrealistic to make this promise to avoid feeling intimidated. What I want us to do today is I want us to shift that narrative from being intimidated to actually feeling intimidated and then doing something about it. Because we can do things about our feelings, but when we're solidifying something as though we are this, I am intimidated, that is very restrictive language. And we're gonna cut that shit out. We are going to talk about how to avoid that and actually feel the intimidation, move through it, and do something about it. Now, like I mentioned before, the number one most common first impression people tell me is that they were intimidated by me. When I heard, oh, you're intimidating, it made me feel like they were telling me like, oh, you're scary, or like, oh, you make me feel like shit. Your energy makes me not feel good. And then something that really started to shift my feelings towards being told this was seeing that question on the internet, am I intimidating or are you intimidated? Because that's on you. You feeling intimidated, that's a you energy. That has nothing to do with my energy. It's how you are interpreting my energy. It's how you are absorbing my energy. And people have told me that they felt intimidated by me for a multitude of reasons. And all of those things I feel can be connected to my human design chart. So my stamina and how I'm able to go, and people feel like they can't keep up with me. In human design, I'm a generator, and the generator types have the most stamina in their energy because we have a defined sacral center. So when this little square here is colored in, that means that you are a sacral being. It means you have a consistency in your sacral energy. And the sacral energy is all about stamina, creativity, life force, energy, that kind of stuff. So my ability to go is because I have this consistency, this generator. Like, literally think about a generator. When the city shuts down and the power goes out, what kicks on, right? When everything else has no power, what kicks on as the backup? a generator. So my ability to go and go and go, and what makes people feel like they can't keep up with me, or, you know, my productivity intimidates them because I'm so in tune with my energy, that just has to do with the fact that I'm a generator, and I honor that. How organized and how much I'm able to get done. Again, there's an arrow in my human design chart where I'm a structured brain. So having a really structured to-do list, having a systemized process of how I move through my day, how I get things done, what my routines are, what my rituals are. And even speaking of routines and rituals and my rhythms, like how I'm able to kind of keep this energy going, again, is I'm a generator, and generators really thrive on having their rhythms and having their routines. Now, I'm not saying stay stuck and stagnant. You might eventually outgrow a routine. I've definitely had that growing pain as a generator and not growing with my energy and feeling like I was like forcing myself to continue doing these routines and these rituals because they worked for me before, and like, why the fuck are they working for me now? So that's part of the process too, is like we have to continue evolving, we have to continue growing. I mentioned this in my last video, which you can watch right here, explaining what you can expect from this YouTube channel, is that if we're not growing, if we're not making progress forward, we're regressing, because we're ever evolving creatures. So if we use human design as a justification to like solidify ourselves and not grow, and this is how this piece of human design resonated with me at one point, and I'm never going to change and I'm never going to evolve from that, you're going to end up feeling stuck and frustrated and trigger your not self theme in human design. So now going back to my structured brain, like I like having a detailed to-do list. I like having something that I can, you know, work my way through in a structured manner. That's what works for me though. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to work for you. You have to find what works for you. How sure of myself I am, I have a defined G center in my human design chart. And the G center is all about self-identity, self-discovery, self-direction, self-love. It's all about the self. And because I have mine defined, I have a consistency in my identity, in myself. So the way that that shows up and translates in my life and appears in my life is that I'm very sure of myself. That intimidates people. My ability to easily communicate my thoughts and my ideas and my explanations and all of that kind of stuff. Again, I have a defined throat center in human design, defined communication, so I have a consistency in my ability to communicate. I also have the channel 360 in my human design chart, which is my ability to bring order to chaos. My ability to take complex matters and simplify them in an easily digestible way. Now, if I'm using terminology that you're not familiar with in human design, that's totally fine. All I'm doing is highlighting what is special about my human design chart, and I want you to take inspiration from that to find what's special in your human design chart, which we're going to get into when we start talking about how to actually avoid being intimidated. Which is a really great segue to start talking about how to avoid being intimidated. So the first step I want you to do when you are starting to feel intimidated, which is okay, like I said, that's inevitable. Feeling intimidated is inevitable. So the first step I want you to take when you start to feel intimidated is I want you to reflect why you're feeling intimidated. What about this person, this piece of content, whatever it is that you're absorbing, that you're taking in, that you're interacting with, is making you feel intimidated? For me, for example, is it how much stuff I'm able to get done? Reflect on why that's intimidating you. What is it triggering within you? Is it that you're not in alignment with how you get things done? Is it that you don't understand your proper time management strategy? Is it that you don't understand your unique way of getting things done? I want you to reflect on why you are triggered, why you are feeling intimidated by this. When you see how well spoken I am, what about that is intimidating to you? Is it that you haven't found clarity in your ability to articulate your thoughts, wants, needs, and desires? Is it that you are struggling with the confidence to really put your ideas out there, to be able to communicate. When you see, the energy that somebody has and you feel like you can't catch up with it, or you feel like you can't keep up with it, reflect on why that's bothering you. Is it because you're out of alignment in your correct energy and how you are designed to move through the world and how you are designed to really best utilize your energy? These are the questions I want you to start asking yourself. This is how you avoid being intimidated, by reflecting on your process and asking yourself, what is this trying to tell me? And the second part of what I want you to do to avoid being intimidated is to find where it's coming from. What's triggering you? So again, I gave some examples of like how I am a structured brain, and that's how I'm able to really systematize and organize myself, because I really honor that and I really lean into it because that's what's correct for me. Maybe you have an undefined G center. Maybe you have an undefined throat center. Maybe your arrow is actually pointing right. So you are more of a flowy brain than a structured brain. So comparing yourself to my ability to get everything done the way that I do it is probably going to trigger you and make you feel very intimidated, because that's not correct for you. And you trying to do something that's not correct for you is going to trigger this imbalance in your energy. And then the third part of what I want you to do once you are feeling intimidated by something, I already hinted about this a little bit earlier, you're gonna find what it's trying to tell you. So like I mentioned, maybe you're comparing yourself to my ability to get everything done in my structured brain, but the fact that you're feeling intimidated by that is trying to tell you that like, hey, you need to actually align with your ability to get things done in your unique way of getting them done. And then the fifth thing that I want you to do to avoid being intimidated is to do something about it. Take action on that. So now you've reflected on why you're intimidated, you found where that's happening, you found out what it's trying to tell you. Now you need to actually do something about it. Experiment with it, play, start taking action on this, because that is what's going to help you go from feeling intimidated to moving through it, and that's how you avoid being intimidated. Okay, sweet souls, I know that I threw a lot of information at you, so I just want to recap here. First step you want to take to avoid being intimidated is I want you to reflect on why you're feeling intimidated to begin with. Second step I want you to take is to find where you are triggered in your human design chart. Where is this triggering that intimidation feeling in your human design chart? The third step I want you to take is to figure out what it's trying to tell you. So what is that piece of your human design chart trying to tell you? Where are you out of alignment? And the fourth step I want you to take is to actually do something about it. Take action on that. Make room to play. Experiment with your energy and find what feels good for you. Again, if I use some terminology in this video that you're unaware with, but you want to start taking steps into reconnecting with your authentic soul, I do have a free resource that you can download at the link in the description. It's called the Free Awareness Manual. You get a PDF and you get a webinar video version for my audio-visual learners. And it gives you a step-by-step explanation of what you need to know in your human design chart and how to get started. Everything is in there for you to succeed. If you liked this video, if you liked my take on how to avoid being intimidated, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to be a member of Authentic Souls Club, all you gotta do is hit that little subscribe button and come with me on this journey, take inspiration from my teachings and translate this information to you so that you can live your most authentic life and so that life can feel easier for you. If you... How many steps did I say? Oops. I moved this.